My name is Henna Karna. I work for AIG. The advancing capabilities recently have changed a lot of the actual processes simply because before we were working on historical information. Most often than not, we were looking at data as it trended in the prior years or 30 years back and so on. And now we're bombarding ourselves with new information, new social data or new real-time data. And that's forced us to think differently. It's forced us to think about inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning, not to do one or the other. But we're now trying to do inductive and deductive perspective together. And that's, I think, over the last 4 or 5 years, that's a big change for the actual industry. There are, the key steps for a successful transformation project are very, very first and foremost, and I think this is really important that we tend to do this very quickly, but we actually have to take a lot of time to understand our current state. So if we're looking for a transformation initiative or we're looking to get buy-in for the transformation initiative, it's very important to understand I am currently here, and these are the areas that I'm looking to change. And I know that current state very well. And then we, of course, have to think about what our target state is, a near term, like a 1-year window, and a 3-year window. And both of these future state or target state goals have to then be overlaid by the current state. And it's very important to say, at that point, what are my KPIs to get where I want to go? And the KPIs are really critical because when you do transformation initiatives, there's a lot of people involved. Usually, there are a lot of key stakeholders that want to know what's going on, and the KPIs will help you assess, I'm going to be here at this point, this is where I would like to be at, here's what I need from you to get there, and so on. So you get the buy-in from the stakeholders, you get to provide back progress, the report that you're doing, and how you're doing against that goal more aggressively, and they are in the plan with you, and the other part of the question actually was with regards to the success of this. Transformation initiatives are often not successful, and it's not because they're not funded appropriately. There are actually 2 major criteria for success. One, our industry is, we know we're legacy, we're legacy systems and all that stuff, but we forget that we have legacy people. We have a lot of folks that have been in the industry, in the companies, 35 some years. When I was at AIG, the team that I had, our tenure, we had folks that had been there for 37, 38 years. And they were wanting to retire. That was their goal. That's what their bread and butter. So a very important part of transformation initiatives are to transform the people. It's not a matter of bringing in new blood constantly. It's actually a matter of, they're golden to me. Those people they are the pillars of the company. How do we transform them? How do we get them to think outside the box? And that's really a very key part of transformation. And the second really key part of transformation that I've seen where the most failure occurs is when you're transforming companies, it's high profile. Everyone has their eyes on it. It's got a lot of investment on it. So the leaders oftentimes, unfortunately, will do short wins because they need to make success happen. They need to make those KPIs progressing, positive returns. So they do smaller things and they do them in chunkier fashions. And they get the up in their performance, and lo and behold, you haven't really thought about the future yet. So although they're transformative, they're being done in incremental fashion, and that actually is it's very devastating years out. Cognitive analytics and machine learning and insurance they're going to dramatically change the way we think about our insurance companies from an inside perspective. What are we looking for in terms of data? That's definitely going to happen. And from the outside perspective, our customer relationship. We know that we have to be more customer-centric, but in reality, cognitive intelligence is telling us it's not about the customer, it's about their relationships. So it's about the digital network that we're going to create with that customer. And cognitive intelligence, it fills that gap very quickly. So instead of being an insurance company that provides services, I am a partner with my customer because I understand them better. I know who they are as people, and I haven't split that gap. I haven't made myself the provider and them the folks that I'm providing for. It's actually a partnership, and that kind of data is going to help us bridge those gaps together. It did the same thing when you think about Amazon and other companies. They're using cognitive intelligence to say, I already know who you are. Come and join my space. I'll cater to you better. That's what's going to happen with insurance. A digital insurance company is going to start to personally measure my risk. I, as a person, will now be measured against my peers and others. So I will have a personalized risk experience. Not the experience only, but my risk score will be personal to me, and that's very important. That's one thing. But the other thing also is every touch point with the customer is an important touch point. Right now, we have situations where we're sending out emails, we're sending out notes, we're leaving voice messages. And at that point, we're not trying to capitalize on the relationship, but a digital insurance company capitalizes on every moment of that relationship. And they're looking at it as a point of connection. They're not looking at it as a passing of a message or adding a product in their mix of bundling. They're looking at it as a connection, and that's very important. Insurance companies have to become customer-centric, and the reason and the way they do that is actually a pivoting in their mindset. We as a business want to create revenue. We as a business want to sell more products. We want more and more customers. Want them for longer terms of their lifespan. A customer-centric company isn't so worried about reeling in the customer. They're actually thinking, how do I give you value? How do I add more to your life? How do I enrich your life further? How do I give you more insights, and so on? If you started thinking of it from that point of view, the things that you put together in front of the customer will be so different. The things that you productize will be so different. It won't be about, I'm trying to bundle my personal lines with my auto, with my home, and so on. It may be completely different than that. And in fact, in a digital insurance company that is customer-centric isn't so concerned about the products at all. It's actually thinking about, how do I cannibalize what I have today so I can get what they want faster to them? And maybe it's not even in my book of business now. Maybe it's not even in my toolbox yet. I have to build it. But I can because I have their insights. That's that entire connection we're going to get soon. The insurance industry will change, I'm hoping very dramatically, but we are a bit slow moving. Actuarial will change quite a bit. The actuarial sciences, the ability to do mathematics differently or analytics differently is going to be very, very different. Data sciences has already started to keep creeping in quite a bit. Maybe we'll still call ourselves actuaries when we do the actuarial work, but it will be much more robust and much more diversified than it is today, and much more forecast-oriented as opposed to prior sort of historically different. Another goal will be that I'll talk about my insurance company more. In the insurance space, I don't mention my insurance company in my dinner tables, in my discussions. They don't add value to my life any further than just have a security blanket somewhere. We're hoping that the insurance company will become a table discussion. It'll become a relationship that I have with them. And in fact, perhaps the insurance company will also be the place that I go to get more information about safety, about my kids' schools and where their safe zones are, where their fire drills are, and things like that. That today insurance companies have data for, but they're not empowering the user with it. And perhaps that will happen as well. I joined Insurance Analytics USA because I think digital and the up-and-coming, the macroeconomic changes that we're going to be facing very soon, are already facing actually, are very important to talk about. And to talk about very transparently, very openly, to have that dialogue, and not as competitors, but as peers. And in our space, we're very confined. We feel like if we talk about something, someone else is going to know that and do that better and more, and we'll lose the business. But in reality, insurance had an ethical value to it. It had a desire to do good for people, and all of us together can do that again. And digital technologies allow us to do that now. So it's the right time to talk about this kind of stuff, and with everybody in the same room. That's why I came. The biggest takeaway from this event so far is that people, when they get together, they can talk about drones and have lots of fun about it. With their competition right next to them. They can talk about big data and realize how archaic our systems are, and know that they have a long road ahead, but not feel uncomfortable about them, because they realize we're all on a similar boat, we're in a similar situation, and we're all going to get to this together. And they also, I think the other bigger takeaway is when you see people talking and networking together on these, this is one of the first conferences that I've been at that has not only insurance companies presenting, but a lot of vendors are presenting, a lot of I think, what was it called, Data USA is presenting. There's some very unique presenters here that are forcing us to think outside the box. We're not just insurance companies here. It's all about insurance, but it's not from the insurance company point of view only. And that's very important.